We bought this boat, the Genoa 54DS, 3 years ago after it was left in a yard in Greece to rot, with Swedish feces left in the toilets and a rotten Frankfurter wiener left in the fridge. The boat was structurally in good shape, but it looked like a disused San Francisco crack house inside. No bueno for the wife. I went into a 6-month refit, which pretty much consisted of everything you'd expect with the exception of work to the hull. There's a full video on the first refit on YouTube. After the first 2 years of cruising and making a few random upgrades on the go, it was time to tackle some of the projects I wanted to do during the first refit, but didn't have the time or the spiritual willpower to do so. I conscripted the help of my dad for a bunch of the work, whilst Hibber and Moose relaxed in a nice Greek apartment down the road. The main projects were removing the mast and the keel, changing the bolts and resealing, adding more solar panels by extending the solar arch, installing a new water maker and AC units, sandblasting the bottom with a complete new underpaint, replacing the old prop with a flexifold and a bunch of other work alongside it here and there. The work was completed at Ionion Marine Boatyard in Preveza, Greece, and it took about 2 months in total. Went really well. If you have any questions about the work, feel free to message me on Instagram. The handle is Ocean Cruisers Podcast, or email me andy@theoceancruisers.com. This video is not sponsored by Powdered Vegetables, a mental wellness app, or Japanese kitchen knives. It's sponsored by no one. So if you enjoy the content, feel free to join the Ocean Cruisers Podcast Patreon to support the work. Disclaimer, I'm not a professional, so don't copy what I do, but feel free to copy what I do. Enjoy!
It's a big crane. It's a big crane. It's a big crane. It's a very... It's a flying boat.
This is really terrifying.
Hello, so about to start the second refit, which I'm so excited about. We've got a few things happening to the boat. I've got a month to get all this done. I am not doing all the work. Excuse me. Sorted. Right, so we've got a month to get all the work done. I'm not doing everything this time, mostly for insurance reasons. I don't want to do something that's going to land me in a hole. So we've got the keel bolts being changed. That is the first big project. When I first got the boat in the water, one of the keel bolts was definitely dead. Gave it a knock, it sounded dull, the others are fine. Sorry. So, one of them sounded dead, so I was like, okay, if one of them's died, some of the others are about to die, so we'll change it. I resealed the keel to hull joint, no water came in, fine, but they need changing. We intend to keep the boat for 10 years, so get those changed. So, that's getting changed. Next thing, well, obviously to do that, the mast has to come down. When the mast is coming down, I'm getting a cutter rig put on there, so we're getting a jib as well as a Genoa, which is going to be great for downwind sailing. As well as that, we're getting the hull sandblasted. So the yard is doing the keels, the yard is doing the sandblasting. We've got a full new undercoat going on, so we've got paint from International Paints, we've got Primcon primer going on, and then we've got some Micron V50. Previously used that, lasted for 2 seasons, absolutely fine, going with that again. We've got a new folding prop going on there from Flexifold, which is a 3-blade, 22-inch, 16-inch pitch. So we should be able to get more speed with lower revs as well, which is cool. That's going on. Got some underwater lights going in. And then we've got new water maker. So the one which was in here, which was made by Osmo C, which is that thing. Wonderful water maker, but for the cost of refitting that, I could actually get a brand new one that performs more efficiently now, because they've got a lot better. So I've got a water maker going in from Seawater Pro. That's an AC water maker. It does 140 litres an hour, 130 litres an hour. That's going to be easy. Taking the old one out, switching the new one in. All the plumbing is exactly the same. That's straightforward. And we've got 2 AC units going in, which are DC powered AC units, which are insanely efficient. Those are also from Seawater Pro. And then I think we've just got like a few little random bits. We're going to touch up some paint on the inside. We're going to do a few little other bits to get the boat looking a bit nicer. Give it a good clean, because it's been 2 years since we've really touched the boat and messed around with it. I've got 2 more solar panels going on. So the solar arch, I'm going to put an additional 2 solar panels on each side. So I need to make an extension from the arch. I'm going to do that myself, because I've got someone who's lent me a MIG welder called Nick. Thank you, Nick. And then there's a place that sells tubing down the road. I used to be a fabricator for a very short period of time, but I still know what I'm doing, so that's it. So here we are. Boat looks insanely messy by design, because we've abandoned doing anything for it basically for a month. And yeah, we're about to start work. So it's blowing about 20 today, so the mast can't come down, but I'm going to take the mainsail off. Genoa is going to have to come off tomorrow morning when the wind drops down a bit. And yeah, this is what the next month of my life is going to look like. Back in the yard in the winter, doing boat work with a cold. So, you know, pray for me, bless me, send me good wishes, whatever you want. I'll take all of it. Let's get to work. Yo, hello. So we're in the... Let's get this autofocus on, eh? Bloody fancy cameras. Oh, I've got a fucking clue what I'm doing with this thing. There you go. Hi. So, taking the mast down, the mast sits inside here. The mast goes down to the keel, or keel step, whatever. It doesn't actually go down to the keel, just goes down to the hull of the boat. So first thing is to disconnect all the electrics, which are up here. So I'm labelling all these things. They go onto this like little grid, which is pretty confusing. I'm almost certain that I'm going to fuck this up, and I'm going to end up connecting them wrong, but I'm trying my best anyway. Good luck to me. So then I'm going to open this out, and then the yard are completely taking care of the rest. They're going to send their crew in, take the mast off and do away with it. So I just need to take the electrics off, which is this part here, and just take this frame off, because this box sits around the mast to make it look less masty and more woody. That's not the correct way to say it. So yeah, that's what I'm doing now. So I tied it all up, bunched it up with a bit of string, and then I've kept the string out here so I can just pull that, and then the wires come back through. There's just 4 bolts, screws holding it down there, and then because this is nice and flush, this should just be able to lift this straight out now, hopefully. So that's there. I've cleared all of this area so that can come straight out. After they take the mast down, the next thing they're doing is releasing the bolts, the nuts for the keel bolts, which are under here. So I wasn't worried about the keel falling off. There's so many bolts in there and they're all huge, but like one of those things, do you want to take your boat across the Atlantic and then the keel drops off and your wife's dead and your kid's dead, and then you're like, shit, should have put new bolts on. No, of course you don't want that, so you just change keel bolts. So that's what we're doing. So that's there. I'm now going to take the mainsail down after I've had a litre of Earl Grey. I haven't had my tea today, and it's 2:30. Shame on me. Let's fix that. Yo, so first thing to do is get the mainsail off, this big bugger here. So I'm going to do this. First I need to take the battens out. The battens have got to come out the sail. Then I'm going to drop this side of the lazy bag down, and then I'm literally just going to fold the sail like really simply onto the deck. And then, yeah, just bring it in, and then that's the mainsail done. So I don't like doing this by myself. It's a bloody heavy sail. I think it's £90 perhaps, something like that. It's a heavy thing. So yeah, nice chunk of wind. So making some progress. Got the sail down, which took about an hour. So that's down. I'm actually going to leave it up here till tomorrow morning when it's stopped raining, and then I'm going to fold it over there because I've got no chance of folding it on the deck. So just getting the lazy bag off now. This should slide. Doesn't feel like it's sliding. Bollocks. Right, let's figure out what it's not doing. It could be just because it's all knotted up like that. So let's get it all over here to start with. It's a really, really strong lazy bag. Yeah, it should slide off. Probably just need to give it a bit more of a tug. So yeah, taking the sail out takes a while because you've got all these separate little pins that need to come out, and getting up there is a bit of a bastard because you just step on these bits here. But then you've got like tool in your mouth, you've got the clips in your fingers, you're holding on with your other arm. It's not easy. Right, so that's day one finished. It's just started pouring it down. So I've got the main sail on the deck there. It's not going anywhere. I've got all the lines off the boom. So the only thing left to do tomorrow is Genoa, and then just whip the rest of these lines out of the blocks and lean them forward. And then the mast can come down, I'm thinking. Hopefully there's going to be no complications with it. So yeah, look at this thing. This is what's opposite me, a wooden boat. It's a shame. Looks really nice from the other side. Not this side. Easy first day. I'm not doing anything more. We didn't get any sleep last night and they woke us up at like 9. No, that's not, I know that sounds tragic, but we only usually go to sleep at like 3. So yeah. Bye. Morning. So it's the next day. I'm about to crack on with work. I got the mainsail down on the ground, so I'll wrap that up. So yeah, they just came and checked the keel bolts this morning, and yeah, we should be taking the mast down in about 30 minutes, so good luck to me and the boat. So as a yard, they do all their own work. They do all their own rigging, sandblasting, fiberglassing. They don't really use external contractors, which is really nice.
Vamos, vamos. Présteme una molizo.
So we just attached the mast down there. I'm lifting it up now. So it's getting lifted up with the crane, and we're just going to lower it down and spin it up. There's the boom. Trust that more than mast. Lowering it down now. So we've got the mast down. The boat looks so weird. I actually prefer it with the mast down. The deck is way more spacious. So here we've got the boom that they rested on here, which looks fine.
I've got a little crack in the bang, see that there? I might try and get it spot welded. I've got a little plastic bag over there. This pops out easy enough. The mast has drain holes in the bottom that were blocked, so when we actually lifted the mast and pulled it off, probably about 5 litres of water just flooded straight out the mast, which isn't good. So I need to get that sorted because that won't help with erosion. But there she is. And then my friend Maximiliano, my Venezuelan, Italian mate, Venezuelan, Italian and Texan mate, just picked up my new head sail. So I've got a jib going on this boat as well now. So as well as the oversized horrendous Genoa, all of these boats come with a cutter or the slutter possibly, because it's not quite a Solent, something in between a Solent, which would be further forward, and a cutter which would be a bit further back. So they've all got this on, and the masts have already got the attachments on the top, so that should be a nice easy installation. So I've got the furler, the tube, the stay, the additional Genoa cars which actually attach onto the back of there, and a sail which will need a new UV strip, which I was anticipating anyway, because well, I was going to do it anyway because it's got a grey UV strip. So that's the work for today, and there's the sun, which I haven't seen in a week, so I'm going to call it a win for today. Cool, so just arrived in this morning, and they've already got the nuts off. Apparently they came off pretty easy. This is a strong guy, so that's why they came off easy. Did you have to use any heat, or did they just come off?
Heat in the color.
Ah, right, okay.
The thread.
Yeah. You needed to heat it up.
It's not heat, it's not clean.
Yeah, it was very dirty actually.
Get the top, it's not down.
Yeah. And we've got the bolts, well, the nuts, not the bolts, so these strange shapes here. So he made a completely fresh piece.
And the new metal.
Yeah, oh, put new backing plates.
Okay.
Yeah, stainless. Cool, so when I turned up this morning, the keel had actually already been taken off, which was amazing. This yard is incredibly fast, Ionion Marine in Preveza. Done a great job as well. So here's the top of the keel. So bizarrely, the keel actually didn't have any seeker on it. It had some seeker around the edge, and it had some seeker around the actual bolts and the threaded bar, but it didn't have seeker all the way on the inside, which was really weird. It's not been changed before. This is how it came original. So that was quite strange. So yeah, basically the keel, as soon as they undid the bolts, it just slid straight out. There wasn't any resistance to it, which is pretty crap, but that does explain why there was quite a bit of water coming in through a couple of the keel bolts. So here it is, it's looking good. They've just put the bolts back in, because what they're doing now is sandblasting the top of this and sandblasting the strip here. They've sanded all the bottom down under here. They've made this all really smooth, so the seeker can go straight on this. That's a nice finish now. So yeah, they're going to put this back in, glue this, and then we're going to wait for a few days, and then they're going to sandblast the hull, and then they're going to sandblast the keel. So it's good. No rust spots appeared on it actually over the course of the 2 years that I've had it in the water, which is nice. Bit of a chunk of gel coat missing off there. Fill all that in. Fill that in with the watertight International 2-part epoxy that I've got. Yeah, looking good. Cool, this is the inside. Had to clear all this out, make it look nice again. Last time it looks filthy as hell, but it's actually a lot cleaner than it was before. There's the holes. So they were steel, the original threaded bar. They're going with stainless now, the normal hexagonal nuts rather than those strange ones that Juno used. So yeah, basically reason for changing the keel bolts was they were 20 years old anyway, 21 years old, and one of them was definitely dead. When I came to look at the boat, I gave them all a little knock, and one of them was dull sounding compared to the others. So I figured, okay, that probably needs changing. Just so you know, the yard here charged £6 for taking the keel bolts off, changing them, which involved removing the mast, taking the keel off, new keel bolts, threaded bar, and then putting it back on, then putting the mast back on. That's €6,000, which I think is about $7,000 at the moment, something like that. Considering like the professionalism of the yard as well, it's brilliant. Like, I'm coming here again without a shadow of a doubt. Next time I need to do something, I'll get a haul out. And compared to what I know, like quite a lot of people are paying in the States for similar work on this boat, that's probably about half to a third. So yeah, if you've got one of these boats in the States, probably be cheaper bringing it to Greece and getting the work done here. You might save quite a bit of money. Morning. Okay, so update on the keel bolts. What we noticed yesterday was that there was a bit of water trapped inside the first few layers of fiberglass around two of the keel bolt holes. And it's actually trapped inside the top layers. What it seems like they've done when they've made this boat is they've created a uniform thickness across the entire hull. And then when it comes to the keel bolts, they've put some extra layers on top. Looks like after they've actually laid the hull, and they've just put like chop strand on, and that is holding a bit of water. Yeah, so here you can see where the chop strand is, and it's just on the side there, closest to the stringer, where it's holding some moisture. So what I basically need to do is sand this all back until I get solid fiberglass that isn't holding moisture, which will be the genuine hull of the boat, not the extra chop strands that they've stuck on top that you can see. And then lay some new polyester resin fiberglass on top of that fiberglass sanding, which I really didn't want to do, but that's okay. He's checked the moisture readings of the hull, the guy that works for the yard who does fiberglass work, and he said the hull seems fine, so it's nothing to worry about. He said it definitely doesn't warrant doing anything more than just taking away the fiberglass that looks a bit buggered, and then just laying some new stuff down on top. So that's what I'm about to do now. I'm about to start sanding fiberglass. That's nice, isn't it? And say that's a good Thursday. Morning. So new day. I've got my sperm suit on, which is a bit too small. I'm exposing my arms, and I know I'm going to get irritated by fiberglass, but nothing else I can do about that. So came back to the boat today. Did a little bit of grinding around the keel bolt yesterday to try and get the moisture out. And basically the area where the fiberglass has gone bad has extended a bit further back. So what I'm actually going to do now is just sand a bunch more gel coat out, get a bunch more fiberglass, and just relay all the fiberglass down there. I got some 300 gram per square metre, and I got some polyester resin and some Greek stuff with a little catalyst there. So let me show you what's going on. So basically, this area here is where we've got water seeping in. I'm presuming it's coming from under here because there was cracks in this gel coat and also holes where stuff has been drilled in the past. I'm going to grind out the rest of that. We're going to lay new fiberglass all around there, but whilst I'm at it, I'm just going to take out all of this gel coat because it's all shitty and ugly looking, and you can see there's like a big ridge that sticks up like 10 or 20 mil. That was an exaggeration, probably 5 to 10. Anyway, so that's what we're doing now. So I've got my grinder with a big sanding disc on it. I've got my hoover ready. I've got a face mask, so I don't want to be breathing in fiberglass and gel coat. That's not good. I don't mind breathing in a lot of stuff, but not fiberglass and gel coat. So yeah, going to get this all sanded out, then see how it goes. What I don't want to see is black fiberglass going up the stringer, but I don't think it's going to be, because I can see already it's basically just the fiberglass on the bottom. And if that's the case, I can just then wait for this to dry out, then just lay a bunch of glass straight on top. So that's what we're dealing with. Let's get on with some work. Right, looking a bit dusty. I did wear all my protective equipment. It just went around my eyes and my forehead when I took my mask off. So this is what we've got it looking like. So basically took away the vast majority of the fiberglass, just not from the places where I don't need to take it off. So we had delamination around that area there, and then also around this area we've got a little bit more sanding to do. I'll see how the moisture levels are tomorrow. But yeah, so that was a fairly successful day. Just got to get some heaters down there now and just try and warm it up a bit, get a bit more of the moisture out. And then I'm just measuring some plumbing for the ACs. Didn't expect to be doing this, but that bilge did always look like shit, and now it kind of looks alright. We'll get some new epoxy paint on it, and it'll look quite nice down there. That's where the water maker's going, so that would be nice if it looks all pretty. Cool. Oh, sorry. I think I was talking to... Well, I was talking to the camera, but the camera was focusing on my nipple area. Sorry about that. Right, so we're on day 7 in the boatyard. I've got my dad here helping me out with fiberglassing. I want to say hello to the internet, Dad.
Hi.
Dad's from Wigan. He's come from Wigan to help me with fiberglassing.
And
watches all the videos.
I've got the worst job because it's a fiberglass.
Gave him the shitty job of cutting the fiberglass up. That's where you learn. That's where you start. So today we're going to be fiberglassing the inside of the bilge area, just like reinforcing it. I'll show you what we've got down here. We've just got the heaters in at the moment, warming it all up. I ground out the rest because there was a bit more dead fiberglass. So we're going to basically bulk up all the sides here with fiberglass. And we've got our fiberglass here, we've got some polyester resin, we've got our little catalyst which is there, so we need to mix this up. But the first thing to do is we're going to cut this to shape, fray all the sides. We're going to get 5 layers ready to go round here, and then tomorrow or the day after, once that's dried off a bit, we'll put like the next 5 layers on, bulk up the sides, and then hopefully after a couple of days this will be dried out. We can put the epoxy resin primer down, and then it'll be good. They actually tried to attach the keel this morning. It was a good thing we turned up when they did. They had the boat in a cradle. We're about to put it back on, so I had to run over to them and I was like, no, the boat's not ready, we need to do some fiberglassing. So yeah, that's it. That's the work today. Got fiberglass everywhere. That's covered in it already. That's it. Let's start.
Another 160 over.
Yeah. We need a 17 and then 2 160s. So I'm cutting all these pieces up here. We've got the first one there, which we're putting all the way across and up. And we've got smaller pieces which we're putting and layering them and like tapering them out as we go down. This is the first time you've laid fiberglass?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's what you call live and learn. And
Yeah.
when you've not lived until you've done fiberglass, have you?
That's what some people might say.
That's 250.
Let's just mix in the resin now. I'm going to start off with 500ml. Got the 10ml of catalyst which goes between these 2 tubs. I've got a few layers on now. Now let's just put in the second layer on that side, or the third. We've lost count of how many layers we put on.
Put 3 on here.
So there's 3 on that side and there's 2
2
on
on this side.
and 3 on the other.
Yeah.
Alright, yeah, then that was the pieces for that side, that makes sense.
There was plenty on there.
So we just finished, we put 5 coats on, and then we're going to put another 5 coats on tomorrow, but just in the areas where it's like recessed and dropped down. But that's looking pretty good. That's nice. So that's 5 layers on each side. Get some heat on it when we come back tomorrow. So it's getting a little bit more heat down there. And then, yeah, we'll probably day after next, we'll go for the next coat. So, nearly drawing a conclusion to the keelboat saga, which I'm glad for. Right, check with you tomorrow. Morning, so it's keelboat day today, or keel day. We've got the keel going back on. We've got everything prepped in here now. All the holes are ready. Got everything painted yesterday. For this, I used the, I think it's Interprotect. Yeah, Interprotect. So this is a 2-part from International Paint. So we used that as there, and the activator is there. So that's a 2-part epoxy resin base coat. And then they've just come and dropped off all the big backing plates, which are huge. They're way bigger than the old ones. So they're all in there. And they are bringing the cranes round now, so they are ready to go. Just noticed these here. Look at the size on these big buggers. They're massive. Top of the keel, looking all nice. That's the epoxy layer that's been put on there. There is the masking tape for all the seeker that we're going to put on. Yeah, they'll lift it up a bit, stick all the sealant in, then lower it back down. Right, so they've just taken a pause to go and get some, I think go and get some of the big blue tape, just for running the masking tape around here, just so the bead doesn't go nuts. I've actually got something really cool. They've got the guns that go onto an air compressor. I've not seen one of those before. So once you press the button, it just shoots it out like real quick. Because I think they're using 291. They've got, I think they've got 12 tubs of that, they're presuming, to glue it in place.
Ήμουν μπροστά, όπα, άστο όπως είναι. Να το γυρίσουμε λίγο από κάτω. Δώσε μου για αυτή την προέκταση. Άστο. Του γύρισε τα παιδιά από κάτω. Έλα. Δεν πήρα ανάσα, καθόλου δεν πήρα ανάσα. Δεν πήρε, Εγώ.
This podcast episode is sponsored by a company that is literally saving lives by providing fresh drinking water to cruisers and oceanfaring humans all over the planet. That company is Seawater Pro, based out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, in the great country of America. Seawater Pro cares about your health and your hydration levels. Without them, I won't be able to make tea, and I'd probably be dead by now, actually, all dried up. So thank you to Seawater Pro for hydrating my family and blessing me every day with my morning cup of Earl Grey. Seawater Pro makes incredibly simple and reliable water makers in modular and portable format, and also just started producing DC air conditioning units. So not only do they care about your H2O levels, but they also care about your core body temperature and your romantic life. Try charming your wife in a sweat-soaked mattress in the middle of summer. Difficult times, guys. Seawater Pro has the solution, an incredible company. With water makers starting at $3,495 and air conditioning units at $4,995, it's a company that not only cares about your health, your soul and your spirit, but also your finances and your cash flow. Check out seawaterpro.com to see their range of life-saving equipment and use the code TOC100, that's Tangerine Orange Clementine 100, for $100 American off your bill at checkout. Don't be a victim to an early dehydrated death. Buy a water maker from Seawater Pro. So today I'm going to take the water maker out. So the water maker I'll show you is an Osmo-C, which is used here. But basically the Osmo-C water maker would have cost more to rebuild than it would be to just get a complete new one, which I didn't see any economic sense in. So I decided to get a Seawater Pro water maker, which is an AC powered, I think it's 140 or 130 litres an hour, which is way enough for this boat. What we're actually going to do is we're going to remove two, so we've got 3 water tanks. We've got 2 on the starboard side and 1 on the port. I'm actually going to convert the one onto the port into a second diesel tank. So we're going to carry about 750 litres of diesel. At the moment we carry 330. So we're going to have an extra few hundred litres of diesel, because if we've got the water maker we don't really need 1,000 litres of water, which is what this boat actually holds, which is a lot. On a full tank it actually lasts us for like 5 weeks in the summer, which is great, but if we've got a water maker we don't need it. I'd appreciate the extra diesel so we don't have to go into a marina to get diesel. Yeah, I'm going to start taking this water maker out now. It's underneath here, so I need to take it out from there. I'm going to take all the basic equipment out, and then I'm going to start going through and just disconnecting all the pipes and stuff, getting it ready for when my Seawater Pro water maker comes. I can literally just drop it straight in, plug and play situation. Being optimistic with that one. Alright, so this is the old water maker here. So here are the 2 membranes. They're actually short, stumpy fat ones, not standard. So this was leaking from here, and also there was a number of components on this part which just weren't working properly. I mean, it's all rusted out. You can see there's started rusting everywhere, but there was so many things that weren't going right on this. It did require it to be sent back to Italy. Yeah, there wasn't much thought needed to go into that one. What was the best thing to do is just get rid of this. And yeah, the ones that Seawater Pro make, the parts are all apart from the pressure pin for the water pressure. That's like a custom made thing that they've developed and patented. Apart from that, everything else is actually standard, so if anything goes wrong with it you can just change it up easier, which is not the same for this Osmo-C thing. So despite it being a great water maker, it's overly complicated and overpriced as well. I think these things run at like 13 to 14 grand, which is like 10 grand more than what you can get a Seawater Pro one for. So yeah, that's what I'm doing now, cracking on with getting this piece of shit out. So a little mid-operation update. I've got those out there. That's looking good so far. And I've just got to take this out, and then I'm basically just going to like assess all the plumbing situation and see what is best left in. If I don't have to like reroute water pipes and electric wires and stuff like that, then I'm just going to leave the original ones in there. So yeah, so we're up to it. I had to take all this out, which is a bit annoying. I didn't want to do that, but I had to access the back there. So that's good. Making progress. Cool, so here's the old one. I just got this out, and yeah, you can see it's a bit fucked. So I've taken all like the useful bits off, some like end pieces. I've got so many of these Jubilee clips now, I'll never need any more. The little plastic barb connections, taken all those off. Basically anything useful. And yeah, this is now going to get launched off the back. Yo, so just getting all this done here, I'll just show you what progress I've made. I've basically just been like tracing a lot of the tubes. So that's where the old one is, and I think I'm actually going to put the whole new water maker in the bilge. So basically the old membranes went there. They were these short, stumpy, like fat ones. These are long ones that are 1.5 meters. So my options are install them across these two, which is basically cutting more holes, taking away storage space. The filter housing unit for the water maker actually won't go under there anyway. It needs more space than that. So I would have to put the filter housing somewhere else. So I'm thinking, why don't I just put them all down here? I can modify the wood a little bit there. Cut that out, and I can have the two membranes going straight underneath. I can bolt them to the underneath of the aluminium frame, which you can see there, and then I can put my filters down inside the bilge, which will basically free up that entire space for storage. So I think that's what I'm going to do. That seems much easier, because then everything's in like super close proximity as well. The only thing which isn't going to be close is the discharge pipe, which is up there, but that's just basic tubing. So I can run a tube over the top of the tank actually and take it straight down there. So I think that's it. I think that's the winner. That's what we're going to go with. So I'm going to remove all this old shit, and then the high pressure pump from the old one, and there's another filter down there. Going to remove all that stuff, and then yeah, just clear this space out ready so that I can install it all under the bilge when I'm done. It should be easier. Morning. So, wet day today. Not able to do any of the work on the hull, so I'm getting my ACs and my water maker brought onto the boat. They arrived in yesterday. My good friend Maximiliano, Italian Venezuelan Texan, he brought them over for me from Italy. So I've actually got a forklift that's going to come round and lift the crate up to the back of the boat there. Right, so I've got the just got the water maker, just unboxing it now. I'll basically show you what comes inside it. So this is the 140 litre an hour AC powered Seawater Pro water maker. This is probably one of the most simple water makers you can get. Everything, oh that's nice, some good instructions. So it's awesome. Basically everything comes inside this box. All your normal hoses, all your high pressure hoses to connect everything together. Your regulator here. This is like a patented regulator that's got like a pin inside it, so you actually don't need to adjust the pressure. Once you've set it, it stays, which is good. They give you all the filters, which is nice. There's a 20 micron. There is a 5 micron. Look at this is awesome. Look at this. So actually package these up for you, put them on here and tell you exactly what they are. That's so cool. That's so cool. So yeah, everything basically comes in a box, and then I've got my membranes, which are out there. That's the little DC pump there, which is like the small breaker panel. Oh, that's cool. So yeah, that's the little DC pump there, which takes the water to the high pressure system. Then this one here is my big high pressure motor. That is the 220. So yeah, that's going to go underneath here. I'm looking forward to installing all this. Yo, so a new day, water maker day. So yeah, this is the Seawater Pro dual membrane, AC powered 140 litres an hour. We've got the two membranes here, really well engineered. They've got this casing around them, which keeps them extra safe and stops them from exploding like some of them do. High pressure pump there. You get a really good installation manual as well. Just goes through like every little bit that you need to do. Shows you photos and diagrams for everything. It's really good. These are also one of the most cost-effective water makers on the market as well. So they're doing really good. They're doing really good.
Before I show you how I put this together, I'll explain how a water maker works. Salt water enters the seawater strainer, which is connected through a through hole below the waterline with the help of this small DC pump. It then travels through this one-way valve into the cotton filters to remove any small particles from the salt water. It then travels into a high pressure pump where it is shot into the membranes through high pressure hoses, which separates the water from the brine. At this point, the water is sent through either a waste pipe and overboard or through a flow valve into your freshwater tanks. Every so often, this timer also flushes fresh water through a carbon filter to soak the entire unit so the salt water cannot damage the filters when it's left unused for a while. And that's it. Simple.
The water maker is going right in the middle of my bilge, above my keel bolt area, the bit that I just refurbished, renovated, whatever, who cares. It's just a word. Doesn't matter if I get it wrong. So yeah, they're going down here. So I basically made space underneath there by removing a wooden partition, and I've secured and screwed these on here where the filters are bolting onto. So yeah, basically this is where all this stuff is going. Right, so the first thing I'm going to do is get all my filters and also my carbon washing filter, timer, all that stuff. I'm going to get that set up across here. That is actually going below the membranes, which are going to go across there underneath. So I need to get these in first, otherwise I'm going to lose access to that area. So yeah, that's what we're going for now. Okay, so I've done the first round of plumbing, which is basically the pre-filters here, and then the carbon filter. So, if we look here, so we've got, this is the carbon filter, which basically flushes the system. You can set it there. It's based on how much you actually use the water maker, depending on how much you flush it. But that'll go through there. These are like some pretty fancy check valves, which look quite cool. So this is where the water comes in from the low pressure pump. Goes through the filters. I've got a 20 and then a 5, and that's that basically checks your pressure, so you know when these need changing. And that then goes to the high pressure pump, which is down there. So this is looking pretty good. So we're ready to install this down here now on that wall. So let's do it. Cool, so some progress. We've got the DC boost pump in now, which you can see over there. I've got that running underneath the boards to here. Excuse the bilge, I need to organise all this. And then I've got it running into the inlet there. And I've just looped that one, which will then go through there into the high pressure pump, which is over there. So this is looking pretty good. So what I'm about to do now is get all this plumbed up with this stuff and then get that mounted underneath here. So that's the next thing to do. Okay, so I've now got the membrane in. So the membrane is like hovering above this area here, which is great. What I've actually done, because I was unable to attach it to the frame underneath, I just couldn't get the drill. And then once I did get the drill, I wasn't able to get the, I don't know what you call it in the States. It's like the thing that makes the hole for the bolt tapper, I think. Don't know. Anyway, I wasn't able to get that, so I basically attached the, you can see it up there, I attached the wooden piece and then I've seekered it to the underneath of the aluminium frame, and that seeker would probably hold a keel on a boat, so that's going to be fine. So wait for that to set, then I can take the clamps off, and then the next thing I need to do is get the high pressure pump and put it down there, route those wires to the high pressure pump, route the freshwater pipe to the tank, and then the brine pipe to the seacock over there, which I think I'm going to need some adapters for. But yeah, that's basically what I've got to do next. I've nearly finished this and I'm really happy with it. I think it looks good. It's nice and compact, fits in that space perfectly. It's great. It'll give me fresh water and I'll never even need to look at it. I just moved all of that stuff so I can get underneath to install this high pressure pump, but what I need to do first is install the actual pump on there. So this is the motor, that's the pump. I need to install that on here. I've got a few bolts for it. It's really nicely explained in the manual there, so this should go pretty smoothly. And then once that is installed, I literally just need to connect the to there. I need to connect the low pressure, and then out pops the high pressure. So this should be super simple. So let's give it a shot. So I've got my high pressure pump installed there now. It's looking nice. So that was actually on like a pedestal that the old water pump was on for the AC. I had two AC water pumps, but they were both massively oversized. So I rerouted all of my ACs now to one water pump. I've got a redundant one if I ever need it, and I've put that on the pedestal where it's sat. So all I've got to do now is connect this one up at the back, and then this is the high pressure hose, which I've got to connect at the back as well, and then run them through to the membrane. And then the only thing I need to do after that is take the discharge, which is there, run that up there to the seacock, and then the freshwater pipe also. I need to run it over into that direction. So nearly finished all this now, which is good. It's a dusty water tank. Hello, so the water maker's finished now. We're back floating. I'll show you what it looks like. So there's Hibber.
Sorry about the mess.
Sorry about the mess, she's on board, so it's messy. So here's the water maker. What?
Like, none of this is my, some of it is my mess. But I'm working, so I'll deal with it later.
Okay. So here we go, here it is. Everything's installed here. All nice. Got the membranes, got all the filters there. Flow meter, pressure valve. Everything's looking good here. So we've got the DC pump down there. Comes in through this tube. Goes into here. Then it goes to the high pressure pump under there. Comes through the membranes. And then we've got the brine which shoots overboard there. And then we've got the fresh water pipe which goes into that one. And turning this on and actually getting the water out is super easy. So I've got two switches. I've got one which is there which says desalinator, water maker, and then I've got another one there which is my 220. So you turn the 12 volt on for a little while and that basically gets all the salt water and pushes it up to well, it pushes it through your filters, and then you turn the 220 on, which then turns your high pressure pump on, and then that starts converting everything into fresh water. So that's it, super easy, really nice install. I really like where I've put it on the boat because it's completely out of the way. What do you think, sweetheart?
It's great.
She loves it. So that's it. If you want to buy one of these, you can use that code. I'll put it on the screen, TOC100. You get $100 off.
Before I show you what I've done this week, I wanted to take you back to the start of our solar dreams when I first started working on the boat about 3 years ago. We had a new solar arch custom made by Adrian the Romanian welder in Calada, but we already have 500 watts on the boat from the previous owner installed on a small arch over the bimini. So this new solar arch was adding an additional 525 watts of solar, taking the total to 1025 watts. My good friend Christopher Foster from SailBoat Telly helped me out on this project, along with my demi-French friend Jean-Claude de Groot. I'll put a link in the description for the full video if you want to watch it. Once on the water, we realised that the two existing panels were buggered. 500 watts was giving us about 10 amps an hour at peak. The panels were old and some diodes were damaged, so it was time to fit some new panels. It required a bit of thinking about, as the existing arch was made specifically for those panel sizes. We found some solar panels that we could work with and got those installed, seeing the total input of amps on those panels go from 10 amps to 40 amps. Big winner. I'll put a link in the description for that video also. However, the end of the season gave us some challenges with cloudy days and we knew we needed more, so ordered some flexibles at the end of that season and installed them over the winter.
Okay, so one of the bigger projects I've got to do over the next couple of months is install two flexible solar panels on the bimini, and then I've also got to install a MPPT charger back where the other ones are. So what I've got to do now is measure the wire that I need to get. I'm using 10mm wire. It is, I think in total it's going to be 390 watts and it's running at 24 volts, so it doesn't actually need to be that thick, but I'd rather oversize it than if I want to add any more panels on at a later date, like another two flexibles I can, and the wiring doesn't need to change. I've already got thick enough wire for it. So the two flexibles will be here on the bimini. We're going to route them through the same hole in the solar arch, so it's going to go down here, it's going to go through the, can't see through there yet, it's going to go through the back cabin, across here, behind this panel, into here, then another set of wires going down. I've got all my little components already. These pieces here, so these pieces here are to attach the flexible panels onto the bimini. These are actually really expensive considering they're just little buttons, and then I've got my fuses, which I'm going to be using for the two wires. I'm going to fuse it before it gets to the MPPT charger, and then I'm also going to fuse it from the MPPT charger to the batteries so I can knock them off either way. Shouldn't really ever need to knock those off there, but it's good to have them anyway, so I'm going to do that. Right, so here is my wire that I'm going to use, or cable. Technically it's wire. So this is 10mm, and I got 38 meters, which might be a bit too much, but at least then I've got spare. So I now need to cut this in half, label it so I know which is positive, which is negative, and then I need to head up there and start mousing the thing through, which is a god awful job, but it's not going to be as bad as changing my exhaust mixer, so I'm going to enjoy this while I'm doing it. Cool, so the wire has now gone through the solar arch and it is over here, so you can see it's popped out. So now I need to basically remove all of this shit, which half of that is actually laundry that never got done. So yeah, I don't want to deal with that. So yeah, I just need to like remove all that shit and basically run that wire all the way through the inside of the boat over to there. I know where to look for it because we've done this before. JC actually did it last time, so got a bit of a heads up going into this one. Thanks, JC. Right, I'll show you where it popped out from over there. So that's it down there. This is the back of the head. So I'm now going to pull this through and push it through there where the other one is, and then I'll be going behind the navigation panel to pull that out. These are the breakers that I've got. These are 30 amp breakers. I think I've got 10 amps at 24 volts running through. But to be honest, they're more just to use as breakers, so I can basically just knock off the power coming from the solar panels into the MPPT whenever I want. So I'm going to install these on the positive and the negative. I've got some breakers in there already, but it was super tight installing them in there. It took Chris ages, so these are a bit simpler. If I ever want to knock these off at the breaker, I can just open the panel and I can just knock these off. And I think I'll probably attach these maybe up here, something like that, or a bit further along. So I'm going to get these installed now. Yo, so I've got my wires through here now, which is great. So I'm just going to clear this area out so I've got a bit more space to work with. This is my positive, that's my negative. I'm going to get on with this now. I'm going to start chopping these up and yeah, basically getting the solar charger. So this is the energy charger that I'm installing for the next set of solar panels. The actual solar panels are energy as well, the flexible ones, which have had like great reviews. So this takes up to 40 amps and it can power 12 volt and 24 volt systems. So you can line up quite a few solar panels in series with this, which is great because then it shrinks your wire that's needed. Right. So open this up, little book. Warranty card. This is the toy. There we go. That is this one here. So this is exactly the same as the other two that I've already got installed. This is just going to take the extra panels. And then also you get a heat sensor to go in your batteries. And you get a couple of little clips for it to attach on to whatever surface you're going to put it on. I'm going to get this part wired in. So if you look here, you've got holes in the bottom, positive in, positive out, all that type of stuff. So that goes in there. So I'm going to get this connected in and then do the rest of the wiring. So basically all I need to do then is like literally just hang it up on the back of there. So I'm going to get on with this now. Cool, so what I'm up to now is basically ignore the mess. As always, my boat is always messy when I'm working on it. I've got to get the negative cable through here, down through there, then hook it into the bus bar, which is down there. Just got one battery in at the moment, I know it looks silly. So yeah, run through there, negative, Then down into there, I went and got my terminals that I'm going to need here. Those are those sort of things. And then I got a new mega fuse. I think it's funny they call them mega fuse. What's bigger than a mega fuse? Turbo fuse? Who knows? So yeah, running that through here now, down there, and then that should be it really for the MPPT controller, other than just mounting it and then actually getting the solar panels on when the bimming is ready. So yeah, I'm going to do this now. Of course, that's popped out the other side. We've now got that here. So I can pull that through, attach it in there, and then this side runs down. Done. Cool, so that is them in there. That is my 3 MPPT controllers. Just need to add a Bluetooth onto this one here and then put some cable ties there, and it's all finished. More solar. Hello, so we're doing some fabrication work today for the solar panels which turned up. So these are the extra Renogy 175 watts. We've got 2 of these. They both arrived this morning, so I've taken one back to the boat. We've got one down here. This is the client workshop. There's Dad, who's how many years of experience fabricating have you got? 50 years? Mark?
56.
56?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I need my glasses now.
He's been doing this a while. So yeah, we went and bought the tubing today. So this is it's actually 30mm. The other tubing we've got is 35mm, but they didn't have 35. So we've got 30mm 316 with I think it's a 2mm wall or 1.5. Then we got this little DC inverter welder on that. It's actually really light. It's quite cool. It's just a little stick welder, and yeah, we've got like a flat bench here that we can make everything on. So we just need to cut these. So these need 45-degree angles on them to go around there. We've got a 5mm gap around, and then on this side we're doing something that my dad calls a cod's mouth. I don't think that's the technical name for that.
Well, it's like a cod the fish. It's its mouth.
Well, that's what it sounds like.
That's the shape. There is a technical engineering term for it.
Probably.
But I don't know what it is.
Yeah, so we're putting something that looks like a cod's mouth on one side, because that's going to then butt up to another piece of tubing. So it's nice, it's all polished, and these are both going on the outside. So cut it in first, and we'll do the welding. Just putting the angles on there to put into the other tubes. When was last time you were fabricating anything? Because you haven't been in the workshop in a while, have you?
12 months.
12 months. You miss it?
No. Well, I do miss it actually. Like a hole in the head.
Yeah, but it's nice doing little things, isn't it? Just like
Yeah, I like
doing
doing
house or something like that.
Yeah, I enjoy this on the board. And you can see what you've done, can't you?
Yeah.
Here's Andy doing a little bit of welding.
It's hell. Once you get an arc, it's alright, you can keep it going. Right, so we're on the second day of welding the solar arch today. We've got this massive like stair scaffold here. There's Dad, getting ready to weld.
I'm a artist.
And we've got, well, we did this one already, so this is the one we put on. You can't look at the welds close up, it hurts your eyes and your heart. But we've got that one on there now, and then we've got this one going up here. So we got some angle iron from the workshop, which is this stuff. So basically the new frame can sit inside here, and then we know it's perfectly level to go on there. Just need to butt that up a bit and then mess around with it a bit. Stainless bends and burns a lot when you weld it, doesn't it, Dad?
Yeah, it does a lot of twisting and pulling, but we're okay. We've got the clamps to clamp it in.
Yeah, it's right. So this is all flush up now. Got the welder hanging from this rope. We've got the 220 electricity hanging from there. And yeah, so pretty much, isn't it? So we just like spot tack it there, and then we get it in the right position, and then we're welding it up. But it's nice. The other one turned out perfect. It takes a bit of messing around to get it right, because we've got a little stick welder.
It's the access, the problem, isn't it? Up here.
Yeah, it's pretty high up.
We are.
Yeah, this is, how tall do you think this goes? Like 6 metres?
No, I'd say about 5.
Yeah.
4 3/4.
Yeah, we're pretty high up. So yeah, like yesterday we had to like stand on here and lean over and crawl inside and stuff, but we got it, it worked, went up nice.
Well, it's better than paying the boatyard to do it.
Yeah, anything's better than paying the boatyard to do it. So we got those, and then we put these 2 brackets on here going there, which give it some rigidity at the end, and that works out really well. We bent them in the workshop. So yeah, we're going to get this one welded up. So that is the solar panels installed, the new ones. So we've got that one there, we've got that one there. The way I've got it set up is these 3 are in series, and then I've got these 2 in parallel. The reason why I've got these in parallel is because these go into the DC to DC charger that's got a solar input. So I've got these ones here, I've got my 2 big panels here, and then I've got my 2 flexibles which are here, which are also 175 by Renogy. So I've got my new panels are actually going into there. So the new panels are going into that, which is my DC to DC charger, and then the rest of my panels, which I've switched around a little bit, are going into my MPPTs, which are in that cupboard there. So that's solar done. I've now got 1.8 kilowatts, which should give me about 100 amps coming in. Should, in the height of summer. And that should be enough to, throughout the day, have the ACs running, have all the general electronics running, ice maker, PlayStation for Hibber, and then also actually charge the batteries as well, because that is a massive amount of solar we've got coming on now. Hello, a new day. I'm in the hole. So we're in the back of the boat. The transom, to be boaty in terms of terminology. The reason why I'm back here is not to touch the rudder, which I'm very grateful for, because that will be horrible. You know, Chris did all that hard work. Thanks, Chris. I'm here to take out that. So this is one of the original air conditioning units that I'm changing out for the new Seawater Pro ones. This is an old school Italian AC, as in alternating current, air conditioning AC unit. This one powers the 2 back bedrooms. We've got 2 going in the boat, replacing 5. But the 2 which we've got going in are way more powerful, so it should be okay. And we only really want to super chill the bedrooms. Summers in the Med get to like well above the 40s. Don't know what that is in American numbers. Hot. So I'm taking these out. I've already taken out the other ones that I'm not using. So I'm stripping this out. So taking this out, don't need to take the wiring out because there's nothing going into the wiring, but we've got all these control boxes here and this type of stuff. These air conditioners generally are used with a DC pump, but I've already got a really strong AC one that's super quiet. So I'm going to get a relay, which I can't remember the name of it, a solid state something relay, which basically when you put a DC charge to it, it clicks over and allows the AC to flow through. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to take these out, dump them overboard. I'm keeping the ducting in. I've already got my inlet and my outlet tube here for the seawater cooling, so this should be a plug and play. I've got a nice panel down there which it can sit on. The only thing I need to do is remove that panel because I've got underwater lights going in the boat, which some of you may find ridiculous. My response to that is I don't care. I like lights on the bottom of my boat. You can see the fish. It's well nice. Right, gonna get this thing out. Yo, okay, so the old one's out. I just came in here and gave this place a hoover as well with my little wet dry hoover. This is the cleanest this place has ever looked. It'll look a bit cleaner. I need to get rid of all this mould and shit off here. That's not good. It's not good on my finger neither. So yeah, that's out. I've got these 2 pipes in here, and the only thing I need to do now is run a couple of DC cables through to here. One DC cable to power the air conditioning unit, and then another DC cable to leave here and then go up to the water pump that's actually going to pump the cool water, the cool seawater through this thing. And then all good. So I'm just waiting here now. This is all done. I've actually got some thick DC cables going through to the other side of the transom, because there was previously a DC powered hydraulic gangway on the back, which I got rid of. These 2 pipes are to bring the fresh air in to here, so you're basically not using bilge air to push water through your... That don't make sense. None of this makes sense. What the fuck am I talking about? So fresh air out of the boat goes into the air conditioning system, not air out of the transom. That's it. So that's what those 2 are for. This is the exit pipe, which splits in 2 and goes into the cabins. So I think my work in here is done for the time being. Might do these wires tomorrow. And that's it. I might go back, have some tea, eat a pie, and celebrate life. Hello, so, okay, back AC is out. Next one is in the front, which is this one. So this is the one that is going to supply cold air to that vent, and then a vent behind that TV, which you can't see. So again, we've got like the 2 air going in, and then the 1 air going out. The compressor for this one is actually under that sofa, which I've already removed. So yeah, it's just a case of whipping this one out now. And the only thing I've got to do to get this up and running is the DC cables, a cable to the water pump, and then I need to take the water in and the water out from down there where the old compressor was, and route them up to here and then join back onto those cables. So it's not that much work. I'm hoping. Hoping it's not. Let's get this thing out. Yo, so that's done. that's out. Just got the piping I need in there. I've just also disconnected the what have I done? What did I do? Yeah, I've just also disconnected the power cables for the ACs as well. They were turned off anyway at the control panels, but I've just knocked that out now. So that's it for today. Another nice one. See you tomorrow. So they're doing the sandblasting underneath. Whilst they're doing that, I am getting ready to finish the electrical work for the AC install. So you saw I took the ACs out, and what I'm basically doing now is getting all the plumbing and electrical ready for it. I suppose it's not a challenge, but one thing I've got that's a little bit different to the original setup is the control box that come out of the ACs. They've got a DC switch for turning on a water pump to power that AC. Now, rather than get two new DC powered water pumps, I want to use one of the existing AC powered water pumps that I've already got on board, because it already works, and it's incredibly quiet. You can't hear it, and it's in a place where all the existing plumbing already ran to, and that is an AC powered one. So thanks to the genius of my good friend Ian from Red Seas, Scottish Ian, he's a ginger, pray for him. He told me to get these. So these are solid state relays that basically take a DC input and they flick on an AC power source when they do it. So that's what that looks like. So I've got two of these. I think I could have done it with one, but I didn't think of that at the time. They're only 20 quid, fuck it. So I've got two of these. So basically I've got the DC power switches from both air conditioners going into this one and this one. And, no, that's the reason why I wanted to do two. So I didn't send DC power to the relay that was in the power control unit when the other one was turned on, that's right. So we're going to get DC power in there, DC power in there, which will then flick on the AC powered water pump. And the reason why I've put those two together, as you can see there, is so they can both turn on the same water pump. So we've got power going in, power going out, and then on the other side of this I've got a 5 amp fuse. So that is here. I'll show you what that install looks like. Right, so this is the install here. So I've got my existing plumbing, which I showed you messing around with. So I've rerouted the existing plumbing, so both the forward and the aft AC go into here. This is the water pump. It was actually a bit further forward and tucked in. I've just brought it back a bit. That's the inverter. That's my DC to DC charger. Which actually I didn't realise, but when your house batteries are full, it starts charging your starter batteries, which is cool. So I've got the wires that come off there. This is from the mains, so this will always be switched on actually. And then I've got my wires that come out my water pump, and that is how this thing is going to get power. I'm getting my ACs and my water maker brought onto the boat. They arrived in yesterday. My good friend Maximiliano, Italian Venezuelan Texan, he brought them over for me from Italy. So I've actually got a forklift that's going to come round and lift the crate up to the back of the boat there, and I'm just going to load them straight off, and I'm going to do a day of internal work. It's going to be raining for the next 3 to 4 days, so it's a good opportunity to get these ACs in. That's what I'm going to do. Yo, so just getting this stuff in now, completely soaked. Not happy. So I've just got the ACs up here, and just giving them a little inspection. I'll show you what I'm dealing with. So this is the, I don't know what you call this, power board, perhaps. So this is basically where we've got the power coming in. This is the remote for, sorry, that is the aerial for the remote, which is here, which I'm just charging up at the moment. Standby. It's not connected, so that's probably why that's doing that. So yeah, here is the AC unit. pretty small, to be honest. So this is everything. It's a single unit DC air conditioning system. I have to question that. Maybe that can drop down. We'll have a look. They usually can. You can usually turn those like that. I'm going to get this unpacked, and then I'm going to take it into the front there and just drop it straight in. I've already got all the wiring in place for this, so it should be a nice easy install. So yeah, let's go for it. Got the instructions here. Seawater Pro, that's for the climate control system. The remote, I'm presuming there's going to be some instructions down here as well. So yeah, let's go for it. Right, so here it is, dropped in. So much smaller than the last ones. The last one was like those shitty Italian ones called Climber, the 220 or 240 or 110 or whatever they are for wherever you are. And yeah, this is way better. It's so cool. So this is the single unit. So everything's inside there. So that is where the cold air comes out. That is where the air goes in through that one, and then that one there. So I've got this little box thing that I need to fix because it's a bit knackered, but this is what's going to attach onto the side. So I've got the fresh air coming in from those little vents, and then the cold air is going to come out from those. So yeah, I'm just going to get this all wired in now. I think I'm probably going to put the control panel maybe here actually. I think I'll put it there. I just need to make sure it doesn't obstruct with the ducts in. So maybe I'll get the ducts in all hooked up first and then see where the thing finishes. But yeah, so impressed with that. It's so small. It's just so compact. Yo, so today is the last day of installing my new Seawater Pro air conditioning units. I've got the one in the front done, you've seen that. It's now time to finish this one down here. So let me show you what we're diddling with. Let's go into the hole. Okay, so here we are. So we've got the unit here, we've got the driver, which gets bolted on to this nice piece here, which I'm going to attach there. Then I've got my seawater in, and I've got my seawater out. I've got my power cables, which I've already run up from my bus bars, and then I've got my two cables here, which are for my water pump. So this is now really simple because I've already got everything plumbed in. I've got my little extensions which go on here. I've got all my wires ready to go, so this should be a really quick job. The only messing around I'll probably have to do is cut these to size, because these need to go on here and on there, and then I'm going to use the old one again to attach it to the side. So I think the best thing about these Seawater Pro units is just how simple they are to install. Like, basically you've got two power cables here, which is your power to your air conditioning. You've got your seawater in and out, and then that's literally it. There's nothing else left to do. It's as simple as that. The rest is just connecting up a bunch of switches like here from the driver that are already, you know, ready to go. They give you the bolts in the bag, they give you the screws in the bag, so it's just so simple. If you've got your plumbing and your electrical already in place, this is like 30 minutes, 40 minutes to switch them over, which is just amazing. So I'm going to get on with this now. I'm going to give you a fast Andy. You don't need a slow Andy. This is such a painless, boring install. You could just get a fast Andy for it. Yo, so that's installed now. That was easy. I think I spent about 30 minutes on that. The only area where you have to mess around really is like around here. The access is a little bit tight under there, and then your condensation hose is down there. So that's all connected. Got the little Bluetooth thing here set up. What I'm actually going to do is build something to go over the top of this so I can still use this area as storage, even though I've got the AC there, so I think I'll probably do that next week. Connected the little Bluetooth screen, which is cool. 64 Fahrenheit, 62% humidity. Just gave it a click to turn the heater on as well, and it did turn on momentarily, so that's good. So all I need to do now is mount that in the back bedrooms, and then that's good. We're all set with that. Super easy, really happy with it. Yo, so we're on anchor now, and I've basically finished with the air conditioning installation, got it commissioned, so I'm going to show you it in action. The boat's a tip, because Hibber's arrived on it.
Of course.
Just made everything a mess. Haven't you, sweetheart? I mean, this is mostly my stuff, so never mind.
Can you please just not do that?
Yeah, that's fine. So, what I actually had to do was the AC water pump was pushing through both of these compressors and the other compressor. It didn't have enough power in it to push it out the back to the back AC, and also through these two ACs to that one and then back to here. So I've basically cut these off, and I've now routed this straight through the new AC, basically deleting these things, which are definitely slowing the flow down. So we've got everything up and running now. So this is the start of March in the Med, and the batteries are at 100%. They got to 100% for about 1 o'clock, and we've now got, so the batteries are basically even, and this thing currently is taking 27 amps. So that's how much it's taking. And we've got the exit here, I've got the fan on, so that was like super turbocharges my side of the bed. So here is the controller. So that's there, so it's 18 degrees, cooling to 17, just so you can see how this works. You touch it once, that's your setting. I've got this also set on the lowest setting there, which is 5,000 BTU. You can take it up to 12. If you go back, here's your little, I don't know if you can actually see that, yeah, so here's your screen, cooling, yeah, so cooling, heating, fan, dehumidifier, which is amazing. And then you can also do this budget mode, which, so you can actually choose how many amp hours you use. So if you only want to use like 50 amps or like, 100 amps over the course of your evening, then you can basically set that up there, limit total power. So that's awesome. And then that comes through a little sensor which I've got down there, so it's giving me the boat temperature. So, oh, so cold. So yeah, that's really nice. It was a bit of faffing around getting it installed, but that's actually nothing to do with the AC units. That's just the current setup was a little bit overly complicated with all the old ACs. But yeah, this is great. So basically, as soon as the batteries are charged, which is usually like 12 o'clock, like noon, during the summer, we can just crank both these ACs down, start freezing the boat down, so the boat literally doesn't get hot during the summer, which this boat does do, because we've got a blue hull and a teak deck, and it's not going to take up any of the battery capacity until sundown. Then we can just keep it ticking over during the night. The boat will be cool because it's been cooled down during the day. So effectively we've got AC and we're cooling down the boat, and because we've got so many solar panels, it's actually not taking up any battery capacity, and we can keep it running through the day. So this is amazing. Our solar panels bring in, I think, about 90 amps, and both of these things will take up 50 to 60. So amazing, really happy with this. Yo, so today we're putting on the new prop, which is a folding propeller from Flexifold. This is the old one. This is what came with the boat. Nothing wrong with this. Nice old prop actually, but there using that one anymore. So we're going to go with a Flexifold. Let me show you what we've got. So this is a 3-blade folding propeller. So we've got the blades here, really well engineered. We've got the hub here, bloody heavy thing, where the blades sit inside. We've got the nut, which goes inside. And then we've got a bunch of little nuts and bolts and Allen key parts, a couple of extra zincs that come with it, the cap that goes on top, and in the box you get some instructions, which is just like an exploded view, makes it really easy to follow, and then some torque settings depending on what size you've got. This is a 30mm propeller shaft, so the nut which goes onto the end of the propeller shaft needs to be tightened to 100 and I think it's 135 newtons. Let's have a look. 135, yeah, that's right. So for that you need a big torque wrench. This goes up to 210 Newton meters, and then for the smaller little Allen key bolts I've got a smaller torque wrench here that goes down to 3.5. These tolerances you have to get right. These are expensive propellers. You don't want to over tighten don't want to over tighten these things or under tighten them and end up losing one of your propeller blades to the ocean. You don't want to do that. So here we go. This is what we have now. I've already sanded all this down nice and smooth, got all this nice and flush, got some new seeker around the P bracket, some new seeker around that tube. Don't know what that tube is called actually. And yeah, oh, another thing I actually did yesterday was I got these things. These are really bright Sea Blaze Lumitech, so I got those. I've installed those. Can't wait to get those going on. So yeah, we're ready. We've already got the key in here. I gave this a bit of a sand down because this had some dirties on each side, so that's had a bit of a sand down, so that fits in nicely. So first thing to do is hubcap goes on. We tighten that up to the right tolerance. I popped this in reverse so it shouldn't spin around, and yeah, we're ready to go. Let's get started. Nice, right, so that is in its place there. Looking good. So yeah, first thing to do, let's get this on. That goes on here. I'm gonna get the torque wrench here, set it to 130, so usually back that out. Yeah, that's already backed out. Take that up to 130, maybe 130. So that is now tightened to 130. Brilliant. Right, I'm just going to keep you informed of what's going on here. This is actually for my sake, so I know that I'm not buggering this up. Cool, so that's been tightened there to the correct torque. Next thing to do is we've got a little grub screw, I think, yeah, grub screw. So we've got a little grub screw that goes in the top here. That's actually already in place. That needs tightening to 10 Newton meters. So we're going to do that with the other torque wrench that we've got, because that one is for higher tolerances. We're going to do it with the smaller one. That's the one. That's it. Cool, so for this, just so you know, if you get smaller torque wrenches, they come with a 3/8 rather than a 1/2 inch. So get an adapter to turn it into a 1/2 inch. I've been sailing around with this thing for years, thinking I'm sorted if I ever need to do anything with a torque wrench, and I'm not, because I have nothing that's 3/8. Everything I've got is 1/2 inch, which is like normal socket size. And then I've got my little adapter on there, so you can put your Allen key pieces in. So that's in. That's now tightened to 10 Newton meters. So next thing to do is start to get the blades in place, and for this you've got a blade here, for example. Got a bit of crap in there, and then when you mount this you need your pins. So these things drop in place. They go, which way do they go? They go through there. And then once they drop in, there is a bolt that goes through, which holds this in place here, which are these nice little things. They've already got a bit of Loctite on them. Right, and these bolts that go in place, these need tightening to 12 Newton meters. So we'll get them all in, then we'll tighten them all. Nice. Cool. So next we're putting the bolts in, and these bolts that go through here, these need going to 12 Newton meters, and they go in here. So you might have to mess around with these to get them in the right place, like there. That's it. Cool, so that is all the blades put on, and we've got the keys inside, so that is fixed and locked in place now. So that ain't going anywhere. Really nice. So next thing to do is we get the cover plate on, and this is a very low torque setting, so this is 5 Newton meters, and this is basically the cover plate that sits over the top of here, protects these teeth, and then the zinc sits on top of it. It looks like this, so you can see it's got indents there for where it sits over the teeth. So these are what we're going to put on next, and this is 5 Newton meters. So we're going to lower this down again. Right, and then lastly we've got the zinc that goes on top. They give you 2 zincs, they give you one that goes straight in, and then they give you another spare one with another bolt. This goes on at 10 Newton meters. Unfortunately I don't have an extension like this long enough on my torque wrench, so I'm just going to put this one in by hand and get it nice and tight, and it should be okay. Cool, there we have it. Installed nice. That took about 10 minutes. And you can see it. Beautiful mechanism. It's folded away. Perfect. Really happy with that. Cool, so the next things I'm going to do on here is I'm basically going to paint this. I've got some prop speed that I'm going to put on it, and then I've got a small rope cutter which I'm putting here. Not a fancy or elaborate one, it's just one of the discs with the teeth on, and then I've got my zinc which I'm going to install here as well. So sandblasting started today. as you can see behind me slightly. I wasn't recording when I first came because the volume of the machine is just way too loud, so I haven't been able to hear anything I had to say. But they started this morning and it's looking pretty cool. So this is how it's looking here. They've done pretty well. There's a few spots where they've taken off a little bit of gel coat here, so yeah, you can see they've taken a bit too much away here. So I'm just going to go over those patches. On this side they've actually done pretty okay. There's not too much missing here. There's absolutely no osmosis patches, which is great. We've got some little areas of the gel coat that have started flaking off, but in the areas where that has come off, the fiberglass underneath it is actually fine. The water line was too low. It needed to be probably 3 to 4 inches higher than it was. So I'm going to run a tape over the top of the existing grey line. A small tape, probably, what would that be? It's going to be 20 mil, so I suppose that's like 3/4 of an inch, perhaps, because, so that's going over the top, and then I'm going to put another layer of tape above that, which is then, the bottom of that tape is then going to be where my water line is. So I'm going to be raising the water line by about 3 to 4 inches. Yo, so they have got the keel sorted now. They've put the epoxy primer on it, a couple of coats. I need to fill it in loads because there's loads of little chunks out of the iron. But what I'm going to do now is basically get some of this watertight. So this is an underwater 2-part epoxy putty that I'm going to put in all the little tiny holes that the sandblaster has created in some of the gel coat, and that'll give it a nicer finish for when I then start putting on the paint. So I'm going to mix this and then I'll show you what I'm talking about with the holes. Makes like a really nice baby blue colour. Really like that. Right, let's get it on. Right, so this is what I'm talking about. Right, see these little tiny bits here? I don't know if you can actually see that. So yeah, it's these little tiny holes. I basically just want to fill these in, because if I start painting over these, the paint will like literally just seep inside and then it will drip out. I actually just drilled the holes here for my underwater lights, so I've got that one. So cool, that's what I'm doing now. Cool, so this is what it looks like once you've got the epoxy filler on. So it's basically just to fill the bridges. You can see it looks a bit weird, but that's actually got all the lumps out now. So I can just run over this with like a 120 grit, and then I'm going to have a perfectly smooth keel, and that's going to look nice. So I've just got a few more little bits I want to touch up on here with a bit more filler, and then this is going to be done. So the next thing is sand that back. I don't really need to sand this stuff, but I think I'll just run over it with the sander anyway. And then put another coat of epoxy on there, and then we're ready to go with the rest. Nearly come to an end. Yo, so it's painting day today. I'm about to start. I've got everything prepped here. Got the boot stripe on, which is hopefully not going to be a disaster. Everything's sanded, ready to go. And to start off with, I've got 2 coats of Interprotect going on. So this is a 2-part epoxy base coat, 3:1 ratio. And this is where these things really come in handy, because you've got your 3:1 here. So you fill A up to there, and then you top it up with B up to that mark. These are really useful. It means you don't have to start measuring. So yeah, let's get started. 6 coats of paint to go on this boat now. Hello, so a new day in the yard. We've got a bit less rain today, which is nice. It's a bit dry, so I'm able to start sanding the keels down. So these have had 2 layers of epoxy primer on them, and they've also been filled in, as you can see here. I've had to fill the whole thing in with epoxy filler. So what I need to do now is sand all this back and try and get some type of uniform finish. What'll probably happen is in the areas where I start sanding, little bits of steel will start to pop back through. So basically I then need to go over it with epoxy primer again, then another round of filler, then another round of epoxy primer, then another round of epoxy primer. So I just gave the rudder a bit of a sand down. So there's a few areas I'm going to have to touch up here, so I'll whack a bit of 2-part and then some 1-part primer on top. That was a little blister which I've knocked back, so I think I'll put some filler in that blister. So I've got my little orbital with an 80 grit on there, which I think should be enough for this. It's not light filler, it's normal filler, but it's still pretty decent. You can sand it away quite easily. So start on this, more sanding. Nice. Or I can start putting some primer on. I'll definitely get primer on the hull tomorrow, epoxy primer. I might not get it on the keel because the other side of the keel, the epoxy filler hasn't fully cured yet. It's still a tiny bit malleable, and before you start sanding it, you really need to get it like 100% cured, otherwise it turns like gooey on the sanding pads, which is a bit of a pain in the arse. So yeah, gonna crack on with the other side. And I'll call it a day. So these are the little foam pads that I'm using. These disintegrate quite quickly with epoxy paint. So I've got a bunch of these, and as soon as this starts to break down, I'm going to change it out. So something to remember with these. You can get these that actually survive epoxy paint, they survive the solvent, but they're pretty difficult to find. So I just use these, they're only cheap, and just ditch them. That's like $7 for all of them. Yo, so another day on working on the hull. So today I've been putting the 1-part primer on, which has gone over the 2-part epoxy primer, and this is how it looks. It's grey, but it's got like quite a nice metallic sheen to it. So this is the Primacon. So the Primacon 1-part primer, you can see the colour difference there, just vaguely. It's basically got a bit of a shine, like a bit of a metallic shine to it. You can actually see it on the keel a bit better. You can see the difference there. So I've done that side. I'm just going to do this side now. With this Primacon, I think it depends what substrate you actually put it onto, but when you're rolling it onto 2-part epoxy, it goes a really long way. I bought 10 litres of this, and it looks like I'm only going to need 5. So I've got primer for like, I don't know, the next 10 years to spare. So yeah, maybe if it went into the gel coat, which was a bit more porous, you would need a lot more of it, but with it going over to the epoxy primer, it really stretches out a long way. So note to anyone wanting to use this stuff, if you are putting it on top of the intercoat, you need about 1/4 of what it actually says on the tin. So it's this stuff here, International Primacon. So yeah, really good stuff. Goes on nice. Comes to like quite a smooth finish as well, which is really cool. So that's it, just on one side of the rudder. But yeah, it goes a long way. A bit pissed off I spent like €250 on this stuff, and I only needed to spend about 50. But yeah, so I'm going to get it all on here now. I'll put the time lapse on so you can see it going on, and then tomorrow, if the weather's good, hopefully I'll get the first coat of anti-foul on, next day the second, and then the bottom's done, which would be nice because this has been a bit of a saga. Been working on this for quite a while, so yeah, that'll be good. Then I can just focus on all the other little bits that I've got left. So cool, let's get it rolled. Yo, so the primer is all finished. Here we go, you can see it a bit better now, it's daytime. Really nice metallic colour, I think it's really pretty. That's all done there, just got a bit of touch-ups I need to do around there. Other than that, pretty much good to go. So we're going to start getting the anti-foul on now, which is the Micron 350. I ordered 20 litres, which is what I should need for this boat. This is a heavy tub of paint. Okay. Okay, so there's the Micron 350. I've got some there, this is in black, and then I've actually got an extra 2 litres because on the calculation I needed 22 litres. Although, I don't know, based on the primer that I used yesterday with the Primacon, I might use a lot less because it's going onto a smooth surface. But if so, I'll just put some extra coats on, not worried about that. So I'm going to go for 2, and then I was intending to do 3 around the water line, front of the bow, leading edge of the keel, and then the rudder, because that's what gets the most wear. So yeah, we'll mix it up now. I bought a mixer from the hardware store. Let's get this out. It's got one of these. Anti-foul can be really, really tough right at the bottom. So this will come in useful. So yeah, let's get it mixed. Get started.
So this is what the boat looked like when it was finished and all the paint was done. I've got a couple more videos to do on this boat project series. We got the boat back in the water, sailed about 40 miles and found out that the bow thruster had broke, the pin had completely sheared. So we're going to be hauling out again, and in those videos I'm going to show you the new bow thruster getting installed and also putting my new head sail furling system up. Hope you enjoyed the video and I'll post the next one soon.